underestimate the man.
Come, gentlemen. Nothing wrong with a finely developed regard for the vintner's skill. I have always thought that the quality of a dinner is in direct proportion to the quality of the brandy served. Mr. Barnes, I have always felt that, should I be born again, I should like to live in your United States, although I deplore a few of your customs.
Oh, what customs would those be, sir?
You stop drinking with your meals.
Mr. President, Sergeant Eugene List, sir. I was brought down from HQ to provide the music this evening.
They thought we needed a relief pitcher, did they?
Is there anything special you'd like me to play?
Do you know Chopin's Waltz in A minor?
Opus 42? Yes, sir.
Very good. Tell HQ they sent the right man.
I have just received word that we will soon have 1 million men on the Manchurian border. As soon as they are in position, we will begin our attack on Japan from the north.
I also have received word that we have a new weapon of rather unusual destructive force.
I hope you will make good use of it against Japan. Please excuse me, but it grows late. Problem?
I just mentioned to Stalin that we have a new weapon. And he didn't seem the least bit curious or surprised. Didn't even suggest that a scientist be kept informed. Now, don't that beat all?
Truman says they have new weapons.
Do they suspect our informant at Los Alamos?
Truman is worthless. They suspect nothing. Tell Kirchhoff at our atomic project to hurry up with the work.
Mr. President, I must apologize again for having to postpone the conference.
It seems our two countries are quite alike. During election years, we behave somewhat as primitive peoples do at the time of a full moon.
How true.
Who's running against you in this election?
Clement Otley.
Well, we've met. He seems like a modest little guy to me.
He's got a lot to be modest about. Remember one thing about Otley. There's a lot less to him than meets the eye. If you don't mind my observing, sir, you appear to be a man of immense determination. How did you come by that?
I was a sissy when growing up. Wearing glasses makes a kid lonely, and he has to fight for everything he wants. Well, you had to either be intellectually above the rest or do more work than they did, and you had to be careful not to lord it over those you've defeated in that line.
Made you quite the statesman, what?
When a good politician dies, he becomes a statesman. I want to remain a politician for a long time.
That service button on your lapel. The war to end all wars, I take it?
If only it had been that. We were all young then, and I remember feeling like I was Galahad after the Grail. I'll never forget how my best cried on my shoulder when I told her I was leaving.
Where did you serve?
In the Argonne. I was made captain over an artillery battery. We saw our first real action in August near the Belgian border.
That was the critical battle of the Western Front on the entire war.
We were moving up toward an elevated position when a German shell exploded not 15 feet from me. My horse was hit and rolled on top of me. I was helpless. My lieutenant, Vic Householder, pulled me free, and I remember gasping like a catfish out of water. It was at that time that I learned the greatest counteroffensive weapon in warfare.
Oh, what was that?
Cussing. And I mean cussing. I got up, caught my breath, and called the Germans everything I knew. My blast of profanity seemed to have a stunning effect, probably because they didn't think an officer who had seemed so proper had it in him. What they just didn't realize was that I was too scared to run, and that's pretty scared. Well, I got things back under control, and because No one had been killed in the melee. The men decided I was good luck. Later, we cracked open some bourbon, flavored with H2O, and declared the event the Battle of Who Run.
My daughter tells me that on your visit to Berlin, you did not wish to walk among the ruins. Is that so?
There were people there, living like animals, scavenging amid the debris. I would never want those unfortunate souls to think I was gloating after them.
Oh, yes. How well I remember the morning after the second great London fire, the Blitz. Everywhere, a smoldering destruction. I wept. Then an old woman sitting amid the rubble said to me, "We can take it, Gov. Give it 'em back." And it was then that my black dog, my depression vanished. And I knew then that the people would have the final victory, and that there would always be an England.
I, too, have a deep and abiding faith in the destiny of free men and women. I believe that people in all parts of the globe intensely desire peace and freedom. America has faith in people. It knows that rulers rise and fall, but that the people live on. Democracy alone can supply the revitalizing force to stir the peoples in all parts of the world into triumphant action, not only against their ancient enemies, but also against their human oppressors.
I must confess, sir, when we first met, I held you in very low regard. I loathed you for having taken the place of Franklin Roosevelt. I misjudged you badly.
A peaceful future can slip away from us quite as irrevocably by inaction, neglect, and division as by spectacular disaster. I hope that both of our nations will never become careless about our strength and our unity.
My dear Harry, you may rest assured that I shall return home to tell my countrymen that the Truman presidency may be the one cause for hope in this world. And I dare say they shall believe me, for they shall see how much I have come to admire you. Good night, Mr. President.
Have you heard the news from London?
Jimmy just told me. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that Churchill be voted out of office in the middle of a major war by that little bird, Attlee. First Roosevelt and now Churchill. The old order is passing away, gentlemen.
Colonel, what about the Potsdam Declaration?
It's ready. It's phrased as a joint statement by the President, Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek of China, and now Prime Minister Attlee. Yet it will assure the Japanese people of humane treatment, and once freedom of speech, religion, and a peacefully inclined government are restored, our occupation forces will be withdrawn.
Unconditional surrender.
Yes, we'll insist on that, but we've left the fate of their emperor rather ambiguous.
Well, sir, if the Japanese people want to keep their emperor, I guess we'll just tell them how to keep him.
We have concluded the declaration with the inference that if the Japanese do not accept this proposal, prompt and utter destruction will follow.
Have we said what form this prompt and utter destruction will take?
No, sir.
Very well, Henry. I think we should release this immediately.
I agree.
I'll order translations prepared. We can have millions of leaflets ready for dropping on the mainland at your command.
Make it so, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, Mr. President.
The dropping of those leaflets should answer some of your critics' crying for an advance warning should you elect to use the bomb. Still, there's Russia just hankering for a piece of this fight. I suppose you're going to invite them in.
I know what a soldier goes through. I feel the anguish of their families back home. If we invade now without Russia to the north, who can say when this might all end?
There'll be those who say you permitted an evil to occur.
Well, but perhaps it will prevent a greater evil. Besides, this isn't the first time I've had to make this kind of decision.
Should Manhattan appear over Japan, all that could change instantly. You starting to feel a little overwhelmed by this job, Harry?
All the world is focusing on this office.
You afraid the world will find you a failure?
Failure. I know failure. When the haberdashery I started with my friend Eddie Jacobson went bust in 22, we decided not to declare bankruptcy, but to pay our creditors back little by little. I was strapped for cash for the next 20 years. So much so that in 1940, when the Republicans controlled the county courthouse and decided to foreclose on the home place, I was helpless to save my own mother from eviction. That day rocked me, Jimmy, as very little ever has. No, the nearest thing to my heart is to do something to bring the world to peace. Think what a responsibility your president faces.
I know. It's because you are the commander-in-chief in law and in fact. You know, it may be a vexing afterthought, Harry, but one last thing you might have to consider is that you drop this, you might be branded a Southern racist. That the only reason for using the bomb in Japan and not in Germany was that the Germans are white and the Japanese aren't. Think about it.
Your evening cocktail, Mr. President.
Thank you for remembering, Arthur. You remember the first time the head butler at the White House made old fashions for Mrs. Truman and me?
Yes, Mr. President, I do. Alonzo Fields was a proudly accomplished bartender. He made them by the book and to the drop.
No doubt, but when Mrs. Truman tasted hers, she asked that the next time it not be so sweet. Now, the second night, he tried a different recipe, and the boss still wasn't satisfied. In fact, she complained that hers tasted like fruit punch. Well, on the third night, he splashed 4 fingers of bourbon over some ice and stood ready for the revelation he thought sure to come. Instead, Bess just beamed at him and said, "Now that's the way we like our old fashions."
Mr. President, may I speak openly?
Arthur, of course you can.
It's about Secretary Burns' comments.
I'm sorry about that, Arthur. He's from the South, and the main difficulty with the South is they're 80 years behind the times. And the sooner they come out of it, the better it'll be for themselves and our country.
Sir, I was present when you read the story about the young American soldier who had been killed in action, Sergeant John Rice. How his body had been brought back to the States for burial, but at the last minute, officials at Memorial Park stopped the ceremony. He was a Winnebago Indian, not a member of the Caucasian race, and so burial was denied.
I was outraged. It was an absolute travesty.
Within minutes, you were on the phone ordering that Sergeant Rice be buried at Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. And you telegrammed his widow saying that an Air Force plane was on the way to bring her and her 3 children to Washington.
It was the least I could do.
No one can ever call you a racist, Mr. President.
But I am a son of the middle borderman, Mr. Pettiman, and I'm ashamed to admit to you that in my youth, I was strongly of the opinion that black men should stay in Africa, yellow men in Asia, and white men in Europe and America. It's that same Missouri upbringing that causes certain phrases to enter into my speech which truly have no place in this day and age. But I went to war and I returned with some understandings. In 1921, I supported a Masonic effort to suppress the Ku Klux Klan in St. Louis. As a senator, I supported legislation which abolished the poll tax. Still, as president, talking about the four freedoms is not enough. I can no longer idly sit by and do nothing in the face of glaring injustice. When a mayor and a city marshal can take a Negro soldier off a bus in South Carolina, beat him up and put out one of his eyes, and nothing is done about it by the state authorities, something is radically wrong with the system. I cannot approve of such going-ons, and I shall never approve of them as long as I'm the president. I've already lost one election because of my belief, and if it winds up in the failure of me ever being elected again, I suppose that failure will be in a good cause.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm glad to have met you in this manner. I see that you've traveled.
Arthur?
Yes, sir. We, too, have a craft. Perhaps one day.
Well, perhaps. Good night, Arthur.
Good night, Mr. President.
You might be branded a Southern racist. Think about it.
Jewish. But if he were, I would never be ashamed of it. Good evening, boys. I'm Harry Truman, and I've been hearing some of the things you've been saying about me around the county. I even understand that some of you have threatened to kill me. Well, if you want to take your lives into your own hands, let's get on with it. So you're the yellow scum who wants to tell me who I can and can't hire down at the courthouse. A Catholic, a Jew, or anyone else that doesn't meet with your approval. Well, boys, being farm kin, you must know that is pure, undiluted bullshit. That's what it is, and I'll hire anyone I damn well please because, boys, those jobs are for all the people and not for just a few hooded bastards like you.
Dear you, I had your $10 in my hand, Truman. You would have been part of our invisible empire if you hadn't been so spineless. And for what? A bunch of mackerel snappers and niggers. Listen, you did that walling out again, you hear? Get it out! You swear believe in our brotherhood. This election year will be in the bag.
I believe in the brotherhood of men, not merely the brotherhood of white men, but the brotherhood of all men before the law. If any class or race can be pushed down below the rest in civil and political rights, then so can any other class or race when it incurs the displeasure of the ruling party. And we can all say farewell to the principles on which we rely for our safety. Legal equality is the Negro's right. It's the Negro's right because he's a free-born American and a natural-born citizen. The colored people take but cold comfort in tenements and shanties. Surely as free men they are entitled to something better than this.
You take a good look out here. There's 5,000 of us in this building tonight. And we we all vote. Yeah! Once we do, that'll be the end of old Harry Truman.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Calling yourself the Invisible Empire. Well, the good Lord should strike you from the face of the earth. Well, I'm leaving, you chosen people. But before I do, I want to tell you what my friend Eddie Jacobson said. Eddie is Jewish, and he said it must have been his granddaddy that organized your courageous mob, because only his granddaddy could sell you stupid idiots a $1.95 nightshirt for $16. Well, I'm going to go find Eddie, and we're going to get us a salute and strike a blow for liberty.
Come on.
There'll be those who say you permitted an evil to occur.
Tom, none of this Mr. Pendergast business. Call me Tom.
All right, Tom, come on in, gentlemen.
Tom, this is Charlie Quinn, Mike Ross, and Lou Fisk. I heard you're overseeing the bond issue as presiding judge for highway construction. They came down to Kansas City and asked me to come along and represent their concerns. You see, they're road builders. Very old friends of the organization.
Well, they're very good road builders, and that's all that really concerns me.
Then why haven't we gotten any of the contracts?
Because your bids are too damn high.
You really think you can give those contracts to some out-of-state bunch and get away with it? We live here and work here, and we pay our taxes here.
That's a good point, Eric.
Yeah, but it doesn't entitle them to the money. I promised the voters in the last election that there'd be no favoritism on contracts, and I intend to keep that promise.
That code of honor means nothing in the world today. We helped put you in office, Truman. Now look, you got an annual budget of $7 million. Now it's time to play ball. Now you just say the word, and we'll doctor those bids and make sure the right people get to work.
And I'm telling you, anybody can get those contracts as long as they're the low bidders. But you can tell them from me that they won't get paid for them unless they come up to specifications.
I told you boys that he's the contrariest testing on Missouri. But now why don't you just give us a few moments alone?
But TJ, you said...
I said I want a few moments alone.
Mike Ross. I know he's head of Ross Construction and a ward boss down in Little Italy, but he's just a plain thief. Tom, I'm surprised to see you here. We've never really had a chance to meet much. I'm used to seeing your son Michael when the organization pays the call.
Well, Harry, these boys been screaming you're not giving them any contracts. And they asked me to come along. Even though Michael is the enforcer of loyalty.
He never treated me that way. He's been my political mentor, and I'm not ashamed to say that I love him as I did my own daddy.
Well, he's never forgotten what you did for his son Jimmy during the war. You were the only man in the outfit to defend him when that shell exploded on the reservation and killed those 3 boys under his command.
Now, he was innocent, and that's all there was to it.
Which is more than we can say for the rest of the world.
Oh, look, Tom, I know that bootlegging, racketeering, narcotics, and prostitution are roaring business in Kansas City. And I don't doubt for a moment who the ruling spirit behind all that is.
Well, rich men have their clubs and they can gamble, and and have a good time. Would you deny a poor man equal right? Look, Harry, this is a clean, fine, and well-ordered city. And I feel I've had a hand in keeping it that way. But what am I supposed to tell these boys waiting outside?
Tell them I already had to let a crooked contractor, a saloon keeper who was a murderer, and a friend of their boss's steal about $10,000 from the general revenues of the county just to keep the rest of them from getting their hands on millions. Was I right, or did I compound a felony? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to get $6.5 million worth of roads on the ground, and at a figure that's going to make the rest of them tear their hair. I already got a hospital up at less cost than any other institution, in spite of my drunken brother-in-law, whom I had to hire to keep peace in the family. Well, I had to run the hospital job myself and pay him for it. Am I an administrator or not? Or am I just a crook to compromise in order to get the job done? You decide. I can't.
Very few men stay honest, Harry. Given the opportunity to cheat and get away with it. What chance does a clean, honest government have with a bunch of vultures sitting on the sideline? I reckon you could have pocketed $1.5 million on this job if you'd have played your cards right.
No, I'm not partner to any of those sons of bitches, and I'll go out poorer in office than I came in. By the time it's over, I won't have $150. I wonder sometimes if I might not be better off quitting and running a filling station. All this gives me headaches.
Ah, Harry. What Michael told me about the 22 election true?
Well, what did he tell you?
He told me that when he and Jimmy convinced me to run you as our candidate for Eastern Judgeship of Jackson County, you flew in an old Jenny for the first time, dropping campaign leaflets on the crowd.
It's true, it was the Oak Grove picnic.
Oh, boy. He told me, he said, when that old Jenny landed, it hit every pothole and cow pie in the field. He said that came and stopped about this far from a barbed wire fence. All the people, they came running up, and candidate Truman gets out of the plane, walks over, and over the fence and tosses it.
Tossed, I was heaving them further than artillery shells.
Harry, don't you worry. I'll take care of these boys outside.
Does that mean we have an understanding?
What it means is I control the eastern and western judge at the courthouse. They can vote you down anytime I want.
Is that what's going to happen?
No, I won't interfere. You just keep doing what you think is right and best.
Another message, Mr. President.
Go ahead and read it, Henry.
Operational priority, War 36792, Secretary of War, eyes only, top secret. Operation may be possible anytime from August 1, depending on state of preparation of patient and condition of atmosphere. From point of view of patient only, some chance of August 1 to 3, good chance August 4 to 5, and barring unexpected relapse, almost certain before August 10th.
That is just what I wanted. I'm highly delighted.
Then I take it, Mr. President, that you have decided to use the bomb?
No, what I've decided is I'm not going to stay around this terrible place all summer just to listen to speeches. I'll draft my reply to this, Mr. Secretary, after I've had a chance to weigh some final thoughts.
Very good, Mr. President.
You always bring your thoughts to me, Harry. But now you seem so far away. Is everything all right?
I've been sleeping rather poorly lately. The heat, this strange house.
Anything else? Well, I'm sure you'll tell me when the time is right. You always do. It's Sunday. Why don't you go to church? You always enjoy that.
I've already been to our services today. Father Tiernan is here, and I think I'm going to go to Mass at 11:30. I guess I'll stand in good with the Almighty for the coming week. My, how I'll need it. Still haven't lost your touch, Kurt.
Well, bless my soul. Captain Harry, don't tell me you attended Mass today.
You think that the Almighty would frown on a Lightfoot Baptist attending a Catholic service?
Oh, God has a big heart, Harry. I'm sure he'd understand. How's Bess and Margaret?
Fine. Just fine.
You should have let me know that you were coming today. I could have arranged for a front row seat for you.
No, I didn't want any fuss. Besides, that was a pretty big crowd you had here this morning, Kurt, and it was pretty easy to blend in.
Was a big crowd, and they just keep getting bigger. More young faces, that same fears, same 500-yard stare. I've been doing this from Belleau Wood to Berlin, and I can tell you there's been far too many last rites. Far too many. At least it's over here.
Well, we still have a good ways to go yet.
I can tell. The boys have been pulling out for the Pacific as fast as I can bless them. There's even talk of invading the big island of Japan. You fellows do that, and you'd better recruit another regiment of chaplains.
Who'd ever thought that back there in the French mud with the old 129th that you would wind up as chief of army chaplains in Europe?
Or you, President of the United States.
I guess that makes us both still in the trenches.
Tell me, Harry, Command didn't fly me down here at your request just so that we could stand about and chat about our days in WW1. What gives?
Kurt, if you've ever had a load of hay fall on you, you know how I feel right about now.
I'm sure your responsibilities as president must be enormous. I've heard of the goings-on at Potsdam. I guess the bright side to consider to all of this is that someday there'll be a place in the history books for you.
I don't know about that, Kurt, but I'll tell you one thing. History has taught me that human nature changes little from age to age. The only thing new in the world is the history you don't know. I hope for some kind of peace, but I fear that machines are ahead of morals by some centuries, and when morals finally do catch up, there'll be no reason for any of it.
You know, I recently had a conversation with Omar Bradley about how warfare had changed over the last 30 years. and about how weapons had become so much more destructive. He told me that it was folly to argue whether one weapon was more moral than another, that when, in a larger sense, it was war itself which was immoral, and the stigma of that immorality would rest upon the nation which initiated hostilities.
Do I have your confidence, Kurt?
As a friend and officer under your command, of course.
As a priest?
As a priest, certainly.
We have discovered the most terrible bomb in the history of the world. Lately, I can't help wondering if it isn't the fire of destruction prophesied in the Bible.
And it would be by your authority to order its use?
Yes.
And by its use, would we be able to compel other nations to our will?
No. The responsibility of a great state is to serve, not dominate the world.
Then what would you have from me, Harry? Confession? Blessing? Absolution?
Your friendship, I think.
Then as a friend, let me ask you, do you pray?
As a youngster, I memorized the prayer which I've repeated through much of my life.
Well then, this is the time and this is the place for it. It may have been reduced to rubble and soot, but it's still hallowed ground. I would be honored to hear your prayer.
Almighty and everlasting Creator of heaven, earth, and the universe, help me to be, to think, to act what is right, because it is right. Make me truthful, honest, and honorable in all things. Make me intellectually honest for the sake of honor and right, and without thought of reward for me. Help me to understand the motives and shortcomings of my fellow man, even as thou understandest mine. I humbly pray in the words of King Solomon, grant therefore thy servant an understanding heart, that I may judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this, thy so great a people? Amen. Amen.
You know, Harry, I've always thought that a prayer really wasn't a prayer unless you were expectant of a reply. Do you realize what you have asked for?
I ask only to be a good and faithful servant of my Lord and my people.
Well then, go and serve God and fear no evil. And remember, Harry, the crucible is for silver, the furnace for gold, and God only tries his most precious metal.
Father Tiernan, if all priests were like you, there wouldn't be any Protestants.
God bless you, Mr. President.
invade or bomb or blockade.
Of course they could give out a warning.
You'll be permitting an evil.
250,000 Americans dead.
Annihilation beckons.
Meet it with courage and the best you hope begins.
We cannot get away from the results of war.
This is the second coming in wrath.
Racist.
They wanted to drop the bomb.
Think what a responsibility your president faces.
Weapons of war are terrible things.
You are the commander-in-chief.
You just keep doing what you think is right and best.
Mr. President.
This is my reply, Mr. Secretary. Suggestion approved, release when ready, but no sooner than August 2nd. Give it to Lieutenant Elsie for transmission.
I'll be leaving for Washington as soon as this message is sent, sir.
Very good. Just make sure they understand that I don't want anything happening until I'm away from Potsdam. Away from Stalin.
I understand completely, Mr. President.
Insofar as the Red Army has pushed to both the Oder and Neses River, we are all agreed that these shall serve as Poland's western frontier. Furthermore, Poland shall acquire the southern portion of East Prussia, including the port of Danzig.
And what of free elections there? We agree that they should be held as soon as possible.
Which in reality means we haven't accomplished a damn thing.
We are also agreed that the future of Germany's former allies shall be postponed for the action of the Council of Foreign Ministers. Germany herself shall be fully demilitarized and partitioned into 4 zones of military occupation: American, British, Russian, and French. Nazi prosecution shall continue at Nuremberg, and we shall all agree by the formula proposed for German reparations.
An excellent solution, Mr. President.
Rather imagine you would think that, Marshal Stalin. It appears that Russia has gotten the lion's share.
Certainly. The Soviet Union suffered the greatest loss of life and property.
But you didn't get control over the industrial Ruhr Valley or the Italian colonies in North Africa, isn't that right?
Another day, perhaps. That is, perhaps another discussion.
There is still time to insert the proposal allowing for free navigation on all inland waterways and great canals.
Yet.
Marshal Stalin, I honestly believe that this will do much to guarantee future peace in the world.
Yet.
I have accepted a number of compromises during this conference to conform to your views, and I make a personal request that you yield on this point.
Yet. I say no.
Very well, gentlemen. The final document will stand as read. If there's nothing else to discuss, the conference is concluded. I cannot understand that man, Jimmy. We've been here 17 whole days. Why, in 17 days you can decide anything. Stalin is an unconscionable Russian dictator. And Attlee, I can't say I'm impressed at all with him. What a sourpuss. In any event, the next time we meet, I hope it's in Washington. At least now it's time to get home.
On August 3rd, we steamed away from Germany, carefully imagining that the Big Three would never meet again. This time, the Augusta proceeded alone. Some days earlier, the cruiser Indianapolis had made passage to a small Tinian island in the Marianas and delivered a top-secret cargo. Then on August 6th, a solitary plane rolled out into the runway. Her name was the Enola Gay. On August 7th, just before 5 o'clock p.m., the Augusta tied up at Norfolk. By the morning of the 8th, the country knew that the president was back at his desk. Stimson and Marshall had worried privately that the bomb had failed to achieve the desired shock effect. Then on August 9th, the papers carried more stupendous news. 1 million Soviet troops had crossed into Manchuria. Russia was in the war against Japan, and a second atomic bomb had been dropped on the major Japanese seaport of Nagasaki. Less than 24 hours later, Charlie Ross called me and told me to be at the president's office just before 7 o'clock p.m.
Call in. 7 o'clock, Mr. President.
I have received this afternoon from the Japanese government what I deem to be a full acceptance of the Potsdam Declaration, which specifies the unconditional surrender of Japan. General MacArthur has been appointed the Supreme Allied Commander to receive the surrender. This is a great day, the day we've been waiting for. This is the day for free governments in the world. This is the day that fascism and police governments cease in the world.
As I made my way to Lafayette Square, bells were ringing, car horns were blaring, a throng of 10,000 people set up a cheer of, "We want Truman!" Harry and Beth would come out on the yard to wave and flash the V sign as cheer after cheer went up. One soldier would fling his arms around me and shout, "We're all civilians now!" We had clinched victory in the Pacific, but there were still some who thought we had sowed the whirlwind.
Our first reports from Guam indicate that 60% of Hiroshima had been leveled. It's been estimated that 80,000 people were killed instantly and another 50 to 60,000 will die in the next few months. All told, the number of dead and injured may reach 200,000. Those suffering from thermal burns, shock, radioactive poisoning are already in the thousands. We're now beginning to acquire eyewitness accounts. Some tell of people being burned to a cinder while standing up, others of birds igniting in midair. One man said he saw women shrieking, plunging into the rivers, their skin hanging from them like kimonos. Generated radiation was so intense near the center of the blast that a woman vaporized, leaving no trace other than the flowered pattern of her garment, which imprinted to the ground as if it were a photographic negative. Those who have survived are referring to the event as unforgettable fire.
Why, Harry, why?
Why what, Bess?
Why didn't you tell me about having to make the decision to drop the bomb? It's the first time ever in our marriage that you haven't discussed an important decision with me. Is it because it was top secret?
No.
What then?
As much as I love you, my old sweetness, I knew that when I had to make the decision to use that terrible weapon, that I would be looking squarely in the face of the abyss. And I discovered that when a man does that, the image he sees staring back is his own reflection. Neither you nor all of heaven could have made that decision for me.
It is just as I had feared. I am becoming superfluous to you.
Sorry for arriving unannounced, Mr. President. I felt I had to see you. We've just finished our last report at Los Alamos. The reports from Japan. Have you seen them? Have you heard?
I have, Doctor. I know all about it.
I can't help but think that this was a terrible mistake. We were wrong to have done this. I was wrong to have done this. I keep remembering a quote from a Sanskrit epic. I have become death, the shatter of worlds. My God, there is blood on my hands. The blood of thousands of men, women, children.
Let me stop you right there. The decision to move forward with the bomb and its dropping was mine and mine alone. If anybody in the world is responsible, it's me, not you, Doctor.
Yes,
the blood is on my hands. Let me worry about that. Let me assure you that one of my fundamental convictions is that of civilian control over the military. The function of admirals and generals is to fight battles and to tell us what they need to fight battles with. We need your talents and abilities, Doctor. to foster a peaceful outcome to the future still before us.
appreciate that,
It's
but-
going to be important as never before for the United States to always remain a preeminent leader in this regard. And I trust that men such as you will be our best hope.
Yes, very well.
Good day, Dr. Oppenheimer.
Well, good day, Mr. President.
Matt?
Yes, Mr. President?
That spineless son of a bitch. His self-pitying attitude is just abhorrent to me. I hope I never have to see that man again.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I'll see to it.
Matt, I finally think I discovered what it is to be President of the United States.
Sir?
It's to be lonely. Very lonely in times of great decisions.
In just 3 short months in office, Harry had been faced with a greater surge of history, with larger, more difficult, more far-reaching decisions than any president before him. Neither Lincoln, after first taking office, nor Roosevelt in his tumultuous first 100 days, had to deal with events of such magnitude and coming all at once. In boyhood, Truman had pored over the pages of great men and women and Plutarch's lives and concluded that men made history, and he had never changed his mind. Yet if ever a man was caught in a whirlwind not of his own making, it was he. We cannot get away from the results of war, Stalin had said, and it was just such results which had beset him since he had raised his right hand and taken the oath of office. The decision to use the atomic bomb, the menacing presence of the Red Army in Eastern Europe, the nuclear age, which had been born in the New Mexico desert, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, all were the results of war, as was his role now, if one accepts that it was the strain of war which had killed Franklin Roosevelt. Clearly, unparalleled power and responsibility had been thrust upon him at one of history's greatest turning points. And the atomic bomb and the looming mushroom cloud were absolutely new things in the world. The old rules didn't apply any longer. Europe was in ruin. Britain was finished as a world power. Asia devastated and in utter confusion. And who could say about Stalin? Indeed, who could say about the future?
I saw him. He spoke to me. The president of the United States.
Hey, what about my note?
Huh? Oh yeah, he said it was in the length of his something or other.
Cable tow?
Yeah, that was it. What's that mean? Anyway?
Don't worry about it. I understand.
I saw him. The president, and the president's brother. Wait till the guy.
Hey kid, don't you want to... What do you know about that? Who'd ever thought that little guy would have paid? Just like I said, that boy is senator material if I ever saw it.
Oh, Little Lodge in Missouri. Belton 450.
Mr. President, I had no idea.
That's all right, Brother Tyler, but there's no need to call me Mr. President here. Brother Harry will do just fine, or if you like, most worshipful will do. George, that won't be necessary. Brethren, if you'll give me just a few minutes, I'll be happy to come in and greet each of you personally.
The president of the United States in my lodge. My wife ain't never going to believe this. What brings you out tonight, Mr. President? Most worshipful.
I'm afraid that's my doing.
Brother Peterson, I knew when that rather excited little man handed me this note that it couldn't have come from my brother Vivian. He's in Missouri.
Yes, Mr. President.
He said you can call him most worshipful and Brother Harry. Call him Mr. President.
You knew that this ring I wear obligated me to respond to this summons, although I have to confess some curiosity as to the urgency of this matter.
Yes, sir, I understand. It's just that I know with some of the decisions you might have to make that, well, this place above all others may afford you the opportunity and peace of mind to make them surrounded by your countrymen and brothers. I think you've always followed your guide, sir, and I couldn't think of a better place to gain some perspective.
No, I couldn't agree more. This fraternity is a special institution for me. It isn't just one man or one place, but a living bridge between the past and the future, spanning from our most basic values to the best of what we can become. And frankly, I too can't think of a better place to clearly see the two. Thank you, Brother Peterson, for your concern.
Allow me, most worshipful sir.
Thank you, Brother Tyler. Brethren, let's go in, shall we?
Look. Where's your apron? Most worshipful sir, can you vouch for this man?
You know, George, in all the time you've been assigned to me, I don't think I've ever asked. Are you a Mason?
No, Mr. President, I'm not.
Well, then I'm sorry, George. Only those men who have properly petitioned, been initiated, and raised can enter a lodge. I'm afraid you'll have to wait outside.
Mr. President, I don't think this is wise at all.
Look, George, no one more than me appreciates what you do for my family and the presidency, but I'm afraid you'll have to wait outside.
Sir, I must protest. The Secret Service has received over 1,900 threats
Relax,
against
honey. The president's as safe inside as if he was in his mama's arms.
Is that so?
Uh-huh.
How many ways into that room?
Just one.
And one way out?
Yep. And anybody either coming or going has got to get through me.
There's only Masons in that room tonight.
Every one of them can vouch for it, see them all ways, can vouch for every one.
But that's not what we would call security clearance now, is it?
That, son, is a new rug you're plowing a furrow in. Now, why don't we just go over here and sit down and relax?
My apologies, Mr. President. Given the events of the past few weeks, strikes and all, don't you think it'd be safer out here with me?
No, George, with all due respect, I'm safer in there. Brethren?
Sonny, you can stop your worrying. You ain't going to find a finer bunch anywhere. They're men from all walks of life, highbrow, lowbrow, and everywhere in between, all sharing in the common belief in the brotherhood of man, the fatherhood of God, and charity for all mankind. And just like Brother Harry, they've all been tried by life itself, and they're willing to be tried again. And if your boss is inside, it might just be he recognizes this fraternity is man's best hope in the world as it stands today.
3 days from now, the President will stand before a joint session of Congress and request emergency legislation authorizing his drafting into the armed forces of the United States all workers who are on strike against their government. At that moment, with the audience roaring its approval, Les Biffle, the Secretary of the Senate, will enter the chamber and hand the President a small red slip of paper, a note from Clark Clifford. The President will glance at it and announce, "Word has just been received that the railroad strike has been settled on terms proposed by the President." The whole Congress, everyone on both sides of the aisle, will rise and greet the news with cheers and thunderous ovation. Yet Harry will make no attempt at dramatics. His grim expression will never change, and having come that far in his speech, he will finish it. He was no less than the average guy on the streetcar or driving the family on Sunday. Yet at that same moment, he would also be the man who could rise He said that he lived by the Bible and history. So armed, he proved that the ordinary American could be capable of grandeur, and that a president could be a human being. He did not require to be loved. He did not expect to be followed blindly. Congressional opposition never struck him as subversive, nor did he regard his critics as traitors. He never whined. He met with reporters frequently as a matter of course and did not blame them for his failure. He did not use the office as a shield or a club or a hiding place. He worked at it. The decision to use the atomic bomb, the creation of the United Nations, the Truman Doctrine, the Marshall Plan, the Berlin Airlift, NATO, committing American forces in Korea, upholding the principle of civilian control over the military, Medicare, the courage of his stand on civil rights, the Whistle Stop campaign, which was recalled as one of the most reaffirming moments in American political history. All these bore the unmistakable mark of the man who had become Destiny's Cincinnati, and who, like the Roman hero he admired, quietly returned to his humble origin when his call to duty was over. As he would leave office, $30,000 in debt, I would inquire of him what he thought the first thing he would do after being president. His reply, "I guess I'll carry the grips up to the attic." Born in the Gilded Age, the age of steam and gingerbread Gothic, Truman lived to see a time of lost certainty and rocket trips to the moon. The arc of his life spanned more change in the world than any prior period in history. Ambitious by nature, he was never torn by ambition, never tried to appear as something he was not. He stood for common sense, common decency. He spoke the common tongue. As much as any president since Lincoln, he brought to the highest office the language and values of the common American people. He kept to the old guidelines. Work hard, do your best, speak the truth, assume no airs, trust in God, and have no fear. He was an object lesson in the vitality of popular government, an example of a society to yield from the most unremarkable origins the most remarkable of men.
Brother Peterson, we're just about to open lodge. Are you coming?
Yes, Mr. President. Yes. Yes, I am. Brother Harry.
over the last couple weeks we've had an absolute ball putting this thing together, you're dead wrong. There are a few people, though, that we, as a cast and as a crew, I know want you to know about. We have Eric, who is our stage manager. He's the guy that calls all the lights and to make sure we're out on the floor. Bob Dumford is back. He's our executive producer. John Cutter, the genius of John Cutter, brought this all together on script.
Not that last line.
And allowed some of us some liberties with the script. And most importantly, the man who we are all extremely grateful for the privilege of being in this production, Steve Hern. And the people that never get an applause, if you'll give them a round tonight, because they did one hell of a good job, and that's the stage and lighting crew. That's it. Great on sound. Thank you very much.
Very good job.